I need a new leather jacket because I got mine a few years ago, maybe more than that, from All Saints, and I let the guy talk me into one that was too small. He's like, "It'll stretch a little bit," and it
Oh.
just didn't.
Did they not have the other size?
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like the dumbest when it comes to salespeople. I still to this day am that way.
Yeah.
When I go into anywhere, it's the same with doctors, and I'm working on that.
Mhm.
Where if I view them as the professional, then I listen to them and I'm like, absolutely, sure. I don't question anything, which I know you're the opposite.
I do, yeah.
And I literally I'm the easiest sale.
Yeah.
Like literally, I have made so many purchases throughout my life that I'm like, I never needed that.
Yeah.
And that's the same with that damn leather jacket. And it's All Saints. So
Yeah.
it's like, a nice one.
I feel like it's nice to be like that though, because it's kind of like debilitating a little bit to be how I am. Like if I want to get something, I'm like, okay, now I need to research everything of all the different kinds and pick the best one and look at all the reviews and then I never decide because there's just, it's so much like everything's such tasks.
But you probably save more money that way. But I return stuff. You don't return stuff. I don't even research. I just buy
I
everything.
save money because I end up not buying anything.
That's true. I get money back and then I'm like, it's free money.
I love
like
it.
all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I just made $200 when it's not. It's that I spent it.
And then got it back.
Yes,
but it
exactly.
came back later, so
it does come back later. It's really messed up. Isn't that so funny? Like,
yeah.
I feel like our personalities are so similar, but when it comes to that kind of stuff, like literally you would hate if I was married to you because I'd be like, Jay knows it. Like when it comes to anything home related, car related, anything, like I am an independent woman. I absolutely can do it by myself, but I will be like, sure, I'll buy out all the things.
Yeah. I get that though.
And that's the sad part about me.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it. Anyways, that was all about your jacket. I like it.
Love it. Thanks.
Okay,
so today we're gonna talk about you.
Put me in the hot seat.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
This is kind of gonna be your like similar to what we did with me in my story.
Cool.
So I kind of just want to start from the beginning because I feel like you kind of have like the American dream of hairstylist like journey. You know what I mean? Where it's like exactly what everyone thinks is gonna happen. Where you like go to school, whatever, then you work for a brand and then your career is like, fairy tale like, but it's not actually that.
No.
So I want to like deep dive into where everything kind of like happened, started, and went from there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not a fairy tale, but on paper, like when you just look at the bio, 100% looks like a fairy tale.
Right?
And I get that.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty and also not beauty of the internet and social media.
Exactly.
It's all about we can create whatever perception we want.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what people come to realize is they're like, oh, that's actually probably like the hardest route to go.
Yeah.
Is like what you've done. Like to get there, first of all.
Yeah.
But then to find then where do you go from there and like all the different things. Because I've
had a lot of identities in this career.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of identity crises in this career.
Yeah.
and I've had the fortune and some people have had the misfortune of being around that in, I would say the last, decade has really been such a wild one for me, but I can't wait to get into it. So let's do it.
Okay. So start from very beginning. Like, did you know that this is what you were going to be doing?
No.
Okay.
I had no idea. When I was in high school, I went to a school that we had a private art school. And so I was involved in that art school and it was such an amazing program. It's really sad because after the 2008 recession, it closed. But it was a ballet school turned into a musical theater school. And so my whole life from the moment I was like, really could talk, I did music and singing and theater and all that. And so I really thought that was going to be my journey, was doing musical theater.
Yeah.
And when I was a senior in high school, I got into a couple programs and I just kind of crashed. I was like, why am I doing this? I've been doing this since I'm 8 years old. Is it just because I have a tendency, and I look back and know that about myself now, that I do what people I respect or view as figures of authority tell me, oh, you're really good at this, you should do this. So then therefore my mind's like, I have to do it because they told me I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And so I realized at that point, and I had been around enough people that I'd seen really struggle through being an actor in musical theater. And I was like, I don't want that life. And I knew then, and this was somehow some weird intuition, that if I didn't want it, I would be so miserable and I would not do well.
Yeah.
And so I decided, okay, I don't want to do that. My parents were like, well, you have to do something. So I went to college first semester. And during that time, I was in therapy, and I literally went to class maybe 6 times. Like, I'm not even joking. I don't even, it was such a waste of time and money. But fortunately, my parents, this was in 2008. Like, my parents were like, or actually I started therapy in 2007. My parents were the ones who like pushed that, which back then that's like, no one really did that.
Yeah.
Especially for their kid.
Yeah.
So thank you, mom and dad. And my therapist was like going through, what are you good at? And I was like,
was the like that to help you figure out what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was, therapy was for that. I had like a lot of like, in my parents' eyes, which this is a whole other topic probably, a lot of like emotional dysregulation, which now I know is ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also the fact that back then my therapist didn't recognize that is an interesting thing, right? And so it was to help me get through that, because I was always like, every teacher, you're so smart. If you would just apply yourself, you do great.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But I tested brilliantly.
Yeah.
I just never did homework.
Yeah.
And so like, it was just a lot of that kind of stuff. I skipped school all the time.
Yeah.
You know, just rebelled in the best way. And I'm so glad I did, because there was no Ring cameras.
Exactly.
There was no social media. I lived my best life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But through that, my therapist, you know, part of the direction was like, what am I going to do with my life? And she was asking me, what am I good at? And everything was hyper creative, obviously. And I'd always been the kid that was really good at makeup and really good at hair for my friends. And in theater, did a lot of that for myself and for I was raised by the gays, you know? And she was like, have you tried hair? It was just that simple.
Yeah.
And then I dropped out of college and I signed up for cosmetology school. And a year later, I was graduated.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So where'd you go to school?
It's not open anymore.
Okay.
It was a small independent school.
Yeah, love that.
It was questionable at best.
Okay.
But like the owner was such an amazing human. Her name's Jennifer. And she created just a really small independent. It was not accredited either. So I paid $10,000. Like
so
cash.
What does that mean?
Not accredited means they cannot apply for financial loans.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
there's no,
you still just take the test at the
it's
end.
everything. Everything is still, they still have to do it by whatever state that is standards.
Okay.
And you still take the test, but when it's non accredited, they cannot apply for any type of financial grants,
assistance,
loans, anything. Exactly.
Okay.
And so I bartended and did like cocktail waitressing. Well, I did cocktail waitressing and then bartended.
Okay.
Every day. And then I went to school, and I also halfway through is when I met that friend that owned the spa that I was telling you about. And that's when I started doing weddings, was during school.
Nice.
And the owner of the school was like, I'll give you hours for all that.
Oh, that's
so every time I
great.
was working at the spa on the weekends, she marked that as hours.
Amazing.
Which like, I don't know if that was like legal or not, but it doesn't matter. I have my license, so I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
And in school, that's when I was doing hair and makeup for weddings and then building a clientele. And that school was connected to her salon. So then as soon as I was graduated, my clients just pivoted into, or my like, I guess, models pivoted into my clients.
So the school had a salon?
It was like
to it?
attached, yeah.
Wow. So then that was your first job after?
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
I did that for 3 years. And then I moved to Nashville.
Right after?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Nashville came way later.
No, I was 21 when I moved here.
Okay, so
I
you
started here
moved
at
to
18.
Nashville.
Yeah.
What brought you to Nashville?
I had visited it with my dad.
Okay.
When every senior was doing their like beach week or whatever they were doing, my dad was like, well, you're not allowed to go to that, but I will take you wherever you want to go visit. And we toured Belmont University as like a potential for me to go to. And I should have known back then that I was like, I am not meant for college. I just knew that,
Yeah.
but I entertained it.
Yeah.
We did a tour, but then my dad and I just had a good old time in Nashville, which when you're under 21 is really hard to do.
Yeah.
But we did our best, and we did, we did all the normal touristy things, but we came and I visited and I was like, this is a really cool small city,
Yeah.
because I grew up being in New York in the summers as a kid. So like my perception of cities is
that. Yeah.
And I knew when I was 21 that if I stay in this small town, I was in Virginia. If I stayed in this small town in Virginia, I was going to stay here. And I knew that I was meant for more. I just always knew that. I always knew that I was meant for more. I could do more. And if I stay here, it's not going to happen. I could be a big fish in a small pond or like really fight and go somewhere and learn.
So at that point, were you picturing yourself like your more was something to do with hair?
I was in hair, and my something more was I'm going to either get back into music or get back into theater, or I'm going to do something in hair. Like hair was my way to pay for my life.
Okay.
It was never my
everything.
end all.
Yeah.
Nope. And then I moved to Nashville and by myself, and I got an apartment like 10 minutes from downtown, and I saved up enough money to not work for a couple months. So I came down here without a job. I had applied. I'd visited a few months before, but they were kind of like New York where you're like, we're not going to do that until you're actually here.
Yeah.
And so I visited a few salons, and I found this one that was right on Demumbrian by Tin Roof at the time. And they gave me a chance. And I was 21. I look back at that and I'm like, they like gave me a job. So thank you, Shana and Eva at Harlow Salon. They gave me a job. I was 21. They didn't know if I was good at hair at all.
Yeah.
And to be frank, I really wasn't.
Did you have to do anything to like, work there?
No.
Just walk in.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right? I think they knew because of my interview and like
exactly.
I would have
what
a good work
kind
ethic.
Of exactly.
Exactly. And there was at the time 2 doors down on Craigslist. This is back in the Craigslist days. Because I was like, okay, well, I need another job to supplement that income.
Yeah.
And I found a job at a restaurant. And at first they hired me as a waitress. But then after 2 weeks, they're like, do you want to be a manager? And I was like, sure. 21 managing a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And so I was managing this restaurant and working at the salon. And I did that. I worked 7 days a week.
Okay.
And then for the first 6 months, I lived in Nashville, worked at the restaurant. Eventually I was like, all right, I'm building enough of a clientele that I know I need to drop this so I can go all in.
Okay.
And at the time, I still in my mind was like, hair is my day job and I'm going to figure out something in entertainment.
So were you
was
liking it? Liking doing hair?
No, I wasn't not liking it.
Interesting.
I liked doing the hair. I liked talking to the clients more.
Okay.
That's my skill set.
Okay.
I think my skill set still is connecting with humans.
Yeah.
And I knew but then I started becoming good at it.
Yeah,
like I was like, okay, I am good at this.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot. And then this educator with TG, which Tony and Guy TG are 2 separate brands, but they're from the same family.
Yeah.
And TG's the ones who created Bedhead, amongst other brands. And this educator came and they taught, and I was like, man, I fucking love that. Yeah, I love this education. And then we went down to a hair show in Birmingham, like right after that. And at the time, I was still within the first year I was working at Harlow. So I was probably just 21 or 22. I can't remember the time frame. And I saw them teach on stage, and I was like, I could teach on stage.
Yeah, you were like, wait,
that's what I can
like
do.
Theater.
That's what I can do. I was like, that is the job I want.
And if you know anything, I don't really know firsthand about it, but if you know or have heard of anything like hair shows back in the day, they were theater.
It was theater.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, I'm either going to be a public speaker or I'm going to do hair and public speak.
Yeah.
I just knew that with my personality and the fact that I don't have fear speaking in front of crowds, if I don't use that gift, then I'm wasting my life.
Yeah.
And I remember even my theater teacher in high school, Mr. Ackley, who's one of the most brilliant humans in the entire world. He has raised so many actors, but also just professionals in general that we use the skills he taught us every day. So the arts in high school matter. And he changed my life. Yeah. And he said in one of our classes, it was our senior acting class, he was like, you guys, most of you aren't going to be actors. Yeah. You're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a teacher, whatever the hell it is. you're gonna use all of these skills.
Things,
And it was so true because we did improv, we did everything. And he was exactly right. So I saw them on stage and I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. And so I like wiggled my way backstage and just like started talking to people. Which is so insane. And I met a woman who I was able to connect with, and I emailed her like, hey, I want to work for you guys. And she was like, you're too young. You can't. And then somebody like not even a week or two later, I can't remember his role because he left not long after this, but he was like, I think like the district president of like our like geographical location with the salon for TG. And he like came into the salon and I walked up to him and I told him, I was like, hey, I want to work for you guys. I want to teach for you guys. This is who I contacted. They told me no. I'm not even kidding. Not even like a day or two later, I got a phone call from Dallas and they're like, hey, can you come out next week to train?
Wow.
And so
For who?
To what?
Is it TG?
It was with TG.
About? Okay,
yes. Yes. And at the time also, Big Sexy had approached me about that. And I think it's just a personality thing. Like when a sales rep meets you, it's kind of like what Brian and I were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Brands look for people in geographical locations to teach for them so you can sell their product.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Like you're not a salesperson, but you represent the brand inherently. Yeah. And back then, because there was no Instagram or it had just started, that's how they did it. Exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, I can't stand Big Sexy here. I'm sorry. I just, the brand is not my vibe.
Didn't like it.
No, and their teaching was cheesy. Whereas
the
like,
red cans.
The red cans. Yeah. And like with TG, like, yes, like Chi and all those brands were really theatrical on stage. With TG was not. It was like, we just do fucking good hair.
Yeah.
We do good hair. There's no gimmick. That's what we do.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to be a part of it because I was like, man, I understand the way they're teaching, number one. And I want to do hair like that.
Yeah.
And so long story short, TG flew me out and I trained with them. And I then became a cutting educator for them. And then
and you chose cutting?
I chose cutting.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense when you know me now, right?
Yeah.
I chose cutting because at the time I felt really weak in that.
Yeah.
And I was also like, you know what, whatever opportunity they're going to give me, I'm going to do. And also I'm going to learn a lot through this. It's going to make me better. I'm either going to go and they're going to tell me you suck so bad you can't do this.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to learn something.
Yeah.
And I also really, with cutting, with the brand at the time, you also were a part of the styling team. And I really wanted to get into like that. Yeah. And like the editorial side.
Was there more opportunities too? Because I feel like color was a lot. Yeah. It's always been a bigger deal to a lot of people. Color, you know what I mean? Like people choose that more often.
Color that's where brands make more money.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, you're going to sell more units of that. But styling is where they build their brand. Yeah. Because that's what consumers buy.
And that's what you see.
That's what you see.
I mean, a lot.
And it's not just in the hair world. Like color brands only really matter to hairstylists.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas styling products matter to both the consumer and to the hairstylist. Yeah. So it's like it's just a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But companies do end up making more from color.
Yeah.
So, but I just
even over products, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. If it's a successful color line, yes, because they sell way more units of color. Now, I don't know the exact profit margin, but that's something we could have somebody on and talk about because I know a couple people that really understand that world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so through that, there was the first year I was with TG, there was a couple opportunities that happened. And they would host these big, they called them world release. And it was like TG's like get all salons from all over the world to come together in one city. And it would be in different parts of the world. And that year it happened to be in Dallas. And when I went, I had just started working with them. So they didn't pay for me to go. It was just me showing up.
So you mentioned to me a lot that a lot of this throughout this time was you paying to be doing these things.
Yes.
Which I don't think people realize.
No.
It's a big sacrifice.
Correct.
Which in the end you got
Yeah,
Do
it
you
was
feel
worth
like
it.
you got a lot out of it? Like,
Oh,
in,
100%.
yeah, exactly.
100%. So I paid to go. I didn't pay to go to training. They didn't pay me, but they paid for me to go to
Yep.
training. And then the first couple opportunities, I just either drive or fly to places to put my face in front of people that I wanted to work for.
Exactly.
And so I paid to go to Dallas, and I was there, and they announced this opportunity that I had seen that they had done in England for 10 years. It was called Inspirational Youth. And they announced it that they were going to do a US version of it. And what they did with Inspirational Youth in the UK is they brought on 10 stylists below the age of 25.
Sounds like church camp.
It was like church camp. They brought on 10 stylists below the age of 25, and they got to work at the Bedhead Studio in London, which is right where Vivienne Westwood's
stuff like
stuff
this
is.
just doesn't, they
No.
don't do it anymore.
No.
Like,
But we can make this happen again.
Yeah.
I believe we can. So they would go to the Bedhead Studio. They would learn under Anthony Muscolo, who created TG. And at the time they would learn with Nick Irwin, who he's a creative director that he's done a lot of different brand work since then. He's a big part of Rankin, the photographer. He does a lot of his work.
Love that.
Nick Irwin is incredible.
I feel like back in this time too, there was so much more like collaboration among like photographers, fashion designers, makeup artists. Even then, like it was
and I got to be at the. I feel like the end of that.
That's what people are wanting. Again.
Yeah, we can make it happen. I think that's I think it is. I think there's a
that's
pendulum.
Why people love hearing. Your experience.
Yeah,
because
I was 22.
It's what everyone thought it was going to be for them.
Yeah,
you know
I was
what
22 by the time the Dallas thing happened. And when they announced that they were going to do that. So basically it's like a week long. You go to London, you train under all these different artists that you're like, I could never even get in the door with these people.
Yeah.
And at the end, they did an editorial photo shoot that was published in different magazines.
Yeah.
And the photographer that does it, Alex Barron, his work is in a lot of, I'll just show you different magazines that he's in, but he also now co-owns a salon with his wife in London. But I'll talk about all that too.
Yeah.
So,
and just to be clear, this didn't just happen to everyone back in that time either.
No.
It takes very specific
Yes.
people. And you were just one of those people that really, like, I think the most important thing so far of your story is like you went for it.
Yeah.
And you put yourself in places.
I even had like the salon, and I'll say this and I don't care, the salon and stylist I was around at the time, the girls were a very big part of my social life, but at the same time, no one supported me during this. And I will say that freely. I don't even care.
Yeah.
And I know if they looked at themselves, they would think that too.
Exactly.
So long story short, they announced that they were going to do a US version.
Yeah.
And they didn't even say they were going to fly us anywhere. I just was like, all right, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And so it was a video submission. And so I, at the time, would trade work with people at 102.9 The Buzz.
Yeah.
And I would do that. So I'd get free tickets to concerts, or like, they'd be like, hey, Gavin Rossdale's going to play at the studio. You want to come see? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to be there. Like, I'd be in a room this tiny and an artist like that was playing.
Yeah.
Which you don't know who that is, but millennials, you know, he's fine still. So one of them, she filmed an edited video. So I traded with her, and they did that for me. Her and her boyfriend, now husband at the time, they made me this cool ass video, and I submitted it, and they chose me.
Wow.
And so there was 10 of us chosen from all over the US.
Yeah.
Actually, not just the US, Latin America as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all the Central America, North America, South America.
Yeah.
So like thousands of submissions.
Wow.
And they chose me, and I flew over to London.
Yeah.
Like I found out, and a couple weeks later I was flying to London.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I think by that time I was 23.
Yeah.
Or 24.
Yep.
I can't remember, but very young. Flew to London. I'd never been anywhere international at all. I'd been all over the country, but I'd never been there.
Yep.
And day one, we step into Bedhead Studio. And it was a bunch of artists. Some were from, Richie was there. So some were from here.
Yeah.
Well, Richie's not from here, but you know, like some were from the US side of their brand, and some weren't. And the day one, we step in the studio and they have us present. And they told us ahead of time, you need to present like who you are to us. And at the time, all we knew is this was just an intensive it was about speaking, doing color, doing cuts, doing editorial work, and presentation skills. Like it's like a boot camp for that basically to create just a better stylist. There was no other knowledge going into it. So we go and we present, and all 10 of us present, and I'll never forget it. When we were done, they all just stared at us, like all the adults. And they were like, Americans are so loud. And I was dead. And they were like, but we love it because you're so confident, blah, blah. And it's true. Every single one of us went up there and sounded just like I did, you know?
Exactly.
And it was such a unique experience. And we all have like such a bond because of it, because it was these kids between the ages of like 20 and 25 who just got to do this really special, cool thing with artists we never thought we could.
Yeah.
And so 5 days in London, day 2, Mary from behind the chair walks in, and we were like, what's she doing here? We don't know. And they had been filming this the whole time, and they do that. Like everything we did with TG, they would film for content. But and they were doing like, I mean, it's not just like filming, like it was like a whole studio of filming, and we had to do asides every day, like break down your day. What did you do? And she comes in, and then she lets us know that she's going to be there for the week. And so she was there for the whole week there. And then last day we did cutting training, color training, speaking and presentation training, editorial hairstyling training. And then we did a full-on casting with models, professional models, chose our models. And then we did an editorial shoot the last day. And then she announced that all the content that they've been filming, she was creating an online TV show for us. And it was now going to be a competition-based show. And it was based off of not only there was a public vote for like, I guess basically Miss Congeniality or Mr. Congeniality. And then they were going to choose one winner. And that was going to be from the leadership team, like all, like Anthony Muscala, Nick Irwin, Mary, Thomas Osborne, all them. So they start showcasing the show. And this is when I really learned a lot. And I think you've gone through this too, is when you're doing really cool shit, that's when you really know who supports you and who cares about you. And my other cohorts that were in London, their salons were throwing watch parties and doing all these things to support them. I got zip. I got nothing. Which also was dumb.
It's
sorry, because
so
I'm like, that
stupid.
is helping your brand, because everything that I did, there was a
reflection.
Brand. Yes, exactly. So I would just watch those alone. That's when I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. I can be on this gravy train alone. And we get through it. But I will say everyone from TG supported me. Everyone, like every adult I encountered with that brand is the reason I am who I am today. Like they were there for me, whether they were physically there or not. They were all over the country rooting for me. And they showed an episode every week. It was like once a week. And Behind the Chair would launch it and be like, all right, everyone go on and watch it. It's probably still on YouTube. I haven't watched it forever. And
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I think there's a few episodes. So it was like
everyone look it up.
Yeah, it was a few weeks from
2014.
Yeah, it was 2014. And at the last episode, they announced like who the public vote was, which was this amazing kid from Paraguay. And then they announced that myself and my friend Peter won, which having two of us was like not what we knew. And the thing that we won was them flying us to Berlin. So 2 weeks later, we were flying to Berlin. And we got to help them with a world release, which was their like, kind of like Redken has like a show every year. And Aveda does. That was TG's version. And we helped them with that show. We did hairstyling, color cuts, everything. We presented with them and on our own. And we did that for, I think it was like 5 days in Berlin. And then I emailed, because with London, we were there for 5 days and then I left. Like I got to see London at night. That's it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to see Berlin. I'm going to stay. So I decided I was going to stay an extra week. So I remember I emailed the US president at the time. And I was like, hey, can you just tell me what hotel I'm staying at? Because I'm going to go ahead and stay an extra week. So like if you'll just change my flight to that day. But like obviously I'll cover the second half of the hotel. They're like, we got you. They covered it. So I stayed in Berlin for another free week. I was like, hell yeah.
That's amazing.
That was amazing. And so I, through that, learned to capitalize on those moments, and I did. And then that's when I took to social media more and showed everything I was doing. And then I just started teaching classes like every week for TG at that point. And they were flying me everywhere, and I was teaching cutting and styling and product knowledge. And I did that for years after that. And I got published in Behind the Chair. I got published in American Salon, Modern Salon, all that because of that moment. And all it took was me being like, I am just going to submit a video.
Yeah, exactly.
And you never know what the fuck will happen.
Yeah.
You never know. And after that, the way that it works with brands, and probably still does, but you take classes with them that you get discounts on those classes, but when you take them, you then start to qualify to teach bigger classes, which increases your day rate.
Yeah.
So I continued to do that, but then I just started like showing up and assisting and shadowing, and then I just learned so much from everybody. I was like, I'm just gonna fly out there and show up, and eventually they started paying me to fly out and show up and be there. So like all of the sacrifice financially and time wise that it all comes back.
Yeah.
It really does. And so I did that for 5 years, 5.5 years. And then I traveled January through October almost every week, if not sometimes 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Did clients in between that.
And you were like, at some point you were like, I can't do this forever. Yeah.
I was tired. I think, and that wasn't their fault. That was my fault for not creating that boundary.
Well, I think it's the nature of doing that kind of thing, right?
It is. Because you've been around even some of the people that I've been around and they are tired.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you're in it to see that, to see that it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And I remember I was going through a lot, like just being really tired, being burnt out. I had a friend who had a tragedy, a very close friend that I grew up with had a tragedy in her life. And that put a lot of things in perspective for me of just like, what am I doing? Like if I'm getting burnt out, that means something has to change.
Yeah.
And I was really, really torn. And Brian started commenting on my photos.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's this?
Yeah.
And then I looked at Local Honey. I was like, I live like 2 minutes, literally not even a song's worth of time from that place.
Yeah.
Let me check it out.
And was Local Honey's brand kind of like what it is now?
It wasn't as big. It was like probably like 10K
but like
on Instagram. But the vibe.
Yeah,
the vibe was the only salon that did hair that I did.
Yeah, exactly. Like more editorial.
More editorial and like just bedhead TG vibes.
Yeah.
And I was like, which is funny because I didn't know he worked with Tony and Guy at the time. But
Yeah.
then once I realized, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to entertain this. So I applied to Local Honey and I hadn't quit TG yet. I didn't let anyone know at the time because I was really torn. I didn't want to leave them. But I also was like, something has to change. And I probably in hindsight could have talked to them and created a better boundary. But I believe in trusting your gut. And when you're feeling led to something, and even if you don't know what the outcome is, like you should do it.
Well, and I think like you devoted so much time and you talk about this a lot and I don't think it's good or bad. It's just what you're wanting out of that time period. You spent a lot of time working for a brand where it was furthering them. It was helping them. And it really had nothing to do with your like personal identity on paper, which like it built your personal identity.
Yeah.
But still everything you were doing was for them.
Yes.
And you wanted to switch to working for you.
I did. And then I also didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into that too. I did. That's exactly. I was like,
yeah,
I need to do this for myself.
Yeah.
And so I interviewed with Brian and he was like, well, what are you going to do about the TG thing?
Yeah.
You know, and I looked at him, I was almost in tears. Like, this is in my culture interview. And I was like, this is a really hard decision for me because I know the moment I tell them, they're going to try to be like, well, we can just carry the products at that salon. And I didn't want to do that because I'm not going to come into a new brand and be like, you need to carry the product company I work with, number one. Number two, I wanted to try something completely different.
Yeah.
I also wanted to try being home because the whole time I lived in Nashville, I was really gone, like more than 50% of the time. And so I made the decision. I quit the salon I was at the time. And the same day I did that, I sent the email to all my leadership at TG and nothing but kindness, nothing but we care so much about you. We, you know, if you ever need anything, you want to come back, please let us know. I had them calling me. That was more the education side. The corporate side was more like, all right, we will send you to, literally, I'm not even joking, Lollapalooza and Coachella on our dime with like, and you can like represent our brand and we'll give the salon $10,000 worth of product. No joke.
Yeah.
If you know, like get us in the door there. I'm like, now hindsight 2020, they weren't even trying to keep me. They're like, oh, she's going to an even better salon.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to get into that salon, which love you guys. I get why you did that. I would do the same thing if I was that.
Exactly.
Objectively speaking.
Yes.
So, cut the cord And it was really hard for me. So I almost like went like cold turkey on a lot of people,
Yeah.
which I do regret some of that. And I've talked to a lot of them about that since then, but I needed to do that so I could just like move forward.
Yeah.
And I started working with Local Honey with the understanding that I was going to be involved somehow in education and building their apprenticeship program.
Mm-hmm.
And I met with Luke and Kevin, which was the other owner at the time, right away. And more so with Luke. And it was established like, all right, she's going to be our education director. And
Implement. Did you start the apprenticeship program?
they had 1 or 2 apprentices at the time, but zero curriculum.
Yeah.
And it was at the time designed to be 2 years long.
Yeah.
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 So Luke
Which
knew,
everyone's like, oh my God, it's a year long now.
Oh, they have no idea. And Brian mentioned this earlier, but I remember Brian had a lot of hesitation with shortening the time frame because he didn't want to lose the quality. But they were only teaching 1 day a week and there was no curriculum.
Yeah.
And so they already had established what cuts and what color techniques they wanted them to learn. And it was pretty much the core that still remains. Yeah. And so Luke was like, if you can get this program started and get it down to 2 days, at the time we talked about even like a sweat equity deal.
Yeah.
And I did that. I created the curriculum. So like every chapter of cutting, every chapter of color, and every chapter of styling, that's all my fault. And I also then was like, Luke, we can do 2 days.
Yeah.
We just need more educators.
Yeah.
And so because of my teacher training program with TG, I knew how to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, if I do it this way, you got to give me this amount of time and I can get educators. And so I think it was 10 educators, 10 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just sold them on a hope and a dream.
Yeah.
And they did the teacher training. And then out of those 10, 8 remained. And we had equal amounts of color and cutting educators for a couple years.
Yeah.
And we went from 1 day of classes to where we did classes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sunday and Tuesday was color. Monday and Wednesday was cutting.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that because we also weren't doing mannequins back then.
Yeah.
Brian was very understandably so, not wanting to implement mannequins.
Yeah.
And I felt both ways about it because with TG, we would teach on mannequins, but then we would do models.
Yeah.
So I felt neither here nor there. And so we did live models only. So I think the education days took a little bit longer.
Yeah.
We did where you did each technique 2 times in that same day.
Yeah.
And long story short, built a program where we went from having 2 apprentices to anywhere from 10 to 15 at a time on a constant rotation.
Yep.
And then the only time that didn't happen is when we took a break in November, December.
Yep.
And that was to give the teachers a break, but also to allow the teachers to add more hair days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was like, we needed to have a break. So I did a teacher training. And then every year I would do the teacher training plus a styling training for the teachers.
Yeah.
Because they also needed to teach styling.
Yeah.
And the styling program, the chapters were built like what they needed to learn from Bridget, Bridget Murphy, who was a big part of all of that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then Emma and I were the ones who like wrote the curriculum. I was very passionate about the styling portion because I think that's the most important part behind the chair.
Yeah.
And I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
To this day. And every single classic styling technique applies to everybody and everything.
I mean, we were just talking, I and Brian started out styling.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like the foundation of hair. It is hairdressing. That's what hairdressing is.
Yeah.
Hairdressing isn't cutting or color. It is styling.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, ran that for a while. And then in early 2019, Bridget was running the salons at the time and she moved.
Mm-hmm.
And so I assumed that role.
Yeah.
And so I was managing the 3 salons and running the education department. And it was a lot.
Yeah.
But the thing I loved about it is I learned a lot from Luke, who owns a salon, and I learned a lot about management and I learned a lot about business processes, profit and loss, cost control.
Yep.
I learned a lot about how to build an education program. I was really proud of what I did. Like
guys, this education program is like state of the art.
Thanks, guys.
It's amazing.
Thanks, Gray.
I mean,
it was
super impressive.
It was really special and I was very proud of it. But also that was a lot to do. And Cliff and Scott were the managers at the time. And so I was leading them and we get through 2019, we're rocking and rolling. Early 2020, we had these like big plans, big plans. But in December of 2019 is when I found out my mom had breast cancer. And so I remember sitting down with Luke and just, tears pouring. And he was so kind and just like, whatever time you need, like whatever you need, you're fine. And
this was the same year that you were pregnant too, right?
I hadn't found out I was pregnant yet.
Okay,
I wasn't pregnant yet. It was, it was a doozy, girl.
It was a doozy.
Thank God I'm on Zoloft. I'll try not to cry. So yeah, I wasn't on Zoloft then. I should have been.
Yeah.
So I found out my mom had cancer, and that really shifted my mind.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much it shifted it yet, but it did. And I got an opportunity to go up to Fashion Week. And the same week that was happening in February was my mother-in-law's 70th birthday, and it was a surprise. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to allow this opportunity to go to somebody else. I'm going to do the family thing. I'm going to do the right thing, which is never how I was.
Yeah.
I've said no to a lot of important dates, events, times, memories with family and friends. And after my mom's diagnosis, I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I had a hard time connecting with people, because I didn't, as much as I felt like those girls didn't support me back then, I also probably wasn't there for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that really shifted my mindset. And so that February, my mom had her double mastectomy. So I spent time with her, and then right away went to my mother-in-law's surprise birthday. And then I flew from there to New York to meet my friend that I helped give that opportunity to with my other friend. And we just had like a couple girls like day in New York, and it was amazing. And then we come back, and during that time, I remember I was like, I'm going to buy some hand sanitizer because there's this weird like disease out there.
Yes.
And they had, that was the first case of COVID was when I was in New York. There was a cruise ship off of the harbor that they wouldn't allow the people to get off because they all tested positive COVID.
Yeah.
And back then we were just kind of like, all right, we'll see what happens. So then we get back and we're rocking and rolling. The Monday, March 2nd, I onboarded a new stylist, Noelle, who owns Elite Collective Salon now. I onboarded her, and I remember her being like, I heard there's gonna be some bad weather tonight. I was like, nah, girl,
oh my God,
they say that.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, girl, they say that all the time. Like literally, this is a couple weeks after my mom's surgery. I was like, nah, girl, they say it all the time. We don't care. So Jay and I had planned a class. Maddie and Brian were teaching it that night. I left the class early because Jay and I had tickets to go see this band at the Ryman, and we leave and we get home. We're walking the dogs. We're like, man, the clouds are weird. And I'm like drunk. I had like 3 drinks.
Yeah.
And we go to bed, and then not even an hour later, we're woken up to, it looked green outside and there was like shit hitting our windows, and I thought a bomb was going off. I was so confused. And long story short, tornado hit our building.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm texting work. It's pitch black. And I'm like, hey, everyone in the hallway at my building saying the tornado, it had hit where Michael J was. Like all of us were like texting it, and I walk outside and I'm like not processing it in the right way. I was like, my building's fucked.
Yeah.
And I, at this point in my mind, was like, I'll see you guys tomorrow at work still. Like that's how crazy I was. And then the daylight happened, because at night it was just like us making sure everyone was okay. There was water pouring in the top of our building. Jay was helping people. All the cars outside were totaled.
Yeah.
Flipped. It was crazy.
Yep.
So long story short, when the sunlight comes up, we see even how bad it was. And Jay and I at 5 a.m. walk up to where Powell Architect was, which was on Gallatin. And we were like, oh my God, I'm not going to work today.
Yeah.
Gallatin, the whole way looked like a bomb went off.
Yeah.
So I messaged the salons. I'm like, this is a situation. And I messaged Luke. And long story short, I'm like dealing with myself and the tornado, and also managing 80 people.
Yeah.
And being like, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this, guys. Da, da, da. And meanwhile, I'm like, I don't even have a home right now, maybe. And luckily, our condo itself was okay. And so Jay and I roughed it out for a few days without power. And then eventually, like, we can't do this. So we went to a hotel with the dogs. And I think like a week or 2 later, we got power back. But our air, because the tornado ripped off one of the air handlers to the building, we didn't have like AC for a while.
Yeah.
So long story short, we get through the tornado. And then we have a leadership meeting the week later, and Luke goes, all right, guys, we have something else to worry about. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it was COVID.
Yeah.
So the tornado happened the evening of March 3rd, early in the evening, and we shut down the salons March 20th.
Wow.
We chose to do it before the governor said it. We wanted to have the control and not be reactive.
Yeah.
We chose to do it.
Yeah.
which I'm very thankful for. The moment the NBA shut down everything,
Yeah.
we were like, we need to shut this down.
Yep.
So my full mind for all of March was just dealing with chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were shutting down the salons, part of the operation was shutting down the actual like business. Like we weren't sure what was going to happen. It felt apocalyptic. Like,
Yeah.
is there going to be looting? Like,
Yeah.
are we going to be able to leave our homes? Because they were
Yeah.
setting up tents for testing. It was the most apocalyptic thing.
Yeah.
Traumatic for every business owner ever. And so we do that. We get through closing it down. We get through quarantine. But anyways, March 27th, I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
7 days into it.
Wow.
So that's when I was like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like kill myself.
Yeah.
Not in like I wanted to, but I really thought like the stress was gonna kill me. So I decided to pull away from leadership. And I told him that we got through halfway through quarantine. That's when I told him.
Yeah.
I made the decision.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna give you a lot of lead time. I can manage this till October.
Yeah.
We can put in all the training and everything we need to. So we had like 6 months to train people.
Yep.
And we did. And I pulled out, had the kids, and kind of went through an identity crisis of like, what's next for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like I got in another pattern of building up somebody else's brand
Mm-hmm.
and not my own.
Yeah. You like kind of felt like you were leaving that and then you just assumed a different one.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's literally what I did because the old habits die hard.
Yeah.
And that's no fault to anybody else's but my own.
Yeah.
But it was definitely what I did. I just did something for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I went through a little bit of identity crisis mode. And then when I came back, I was like, no matter what I do, every decision I make is going to be for me.
Yeah.
That's just, and like it was hard and it's been hard, but now it's been easier.
Yeah, exactly.
And then now 5 years later, I'm like so thankful I went through that because I think COVID, all those signs, like that couldn't have been more of a brick being thrown at my head of you're not in the role you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think I did a really good job, but I also, just because you can't, just like back to when I was a senior high school, just as you are good at it or can do it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful for everything I learned. I think it's going to tie in some ways to what I'm doing now, and it will tie into something in the future.
Yeah.
But now everything I do is for myself, and my clientele has been like the rock through it all. They've stuck with me through 14 years of that,
and they're so excited for this new.
They love
chapter.
this. They love this, and being, I think becoming a mom, it gives you more of that. Oh yeah, I'm definitely only going to do things that serve myself. And that sounds selfish, but it's not.
No.
Because
it's
by serving myself, I'm serving my family.
Yeah.
And myself too. Like I deserve that. And I never felt everything I did, I felt like I was doing it for somebody else.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, everything I do is for me.
Yeah. I love it.
And that's when, you also kind of came into the picture all during that chaos.
I know. I'm so glad I get that end of things because from the beginning of my career, knowing you, I have said yes for me. I don't know that I've really ever necessarily worked for another brand, another person. And that's not to say it's right or wrong, but it's given me the confidence to be able to
like
do
that's
that.
right.
Like you know what I mean?
I think I almost feel protective of you over you in that way. I'm like, it's important.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with partnering with a brand or anything like that. It needs to be the right time in your career and it needs to behoove you more than it does that.
And beneficial to both people.
Yeah.
It's like you got so much out of what you did.
I did.
And you're just in a different era now.
Yeah. And I'm so incredibly grateful.
Yeah.
And everything I got, especially from TG, was priceless. I couldn't put a dollar amount on the education and the connections that I got from that.
Yeah.
And the credibility that I got from that is priceless. Like I couldn't pay for that.
It's amazing.
And so I'm so eternally grateful for it. And I'm so eternally grateful for everything I learned from it. And I think it's given me the confidence to like want to do this, and what is this? I don't know. We're still learning and it's evolving.
Yes.
But I know people are so excited about it because if somebody wants to work for a brand, I can help them.
Yeah.
I know how to do it. I know how to get you in there. I can get you in the door. I can also caution you and coach you through it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be able to help people through my experience. And I've now become such a better stylist, not even because of the techniques I learned, but because of the confidence I learned. And my clients behind the chair, they've been so patient and gracious with me in that journey along the way too. And it's been pretty cool to see. And I've learned so much from them.
Yep.
I didn't realize how much I've learned from those experiences, but also my clients. Like I can't thank them enough, truly.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about business from them. And then my clients are like, man, my whole career, they're always like, you should be a business coach. Cause like I talk them through all their job shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I should. And that's what we're doing.
Well, and lucky for Hair Talk Coffee Club and other things from here on out, we have so much stuff that we're going to be working on. I'm really excited for the next.
Me too.
Not just year, but years and what everything becomes. So,
I completely agree. I'm thankful I met you.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And so next steps for you is that kind of.
Yeah. So my goal next is obviously build. Now I'm hiding behind this brand.
Yeah.
In the best way. Yeah. I'm good at that. Is to build this up. And what this started as I wanted to create a community for hairdressers to come together and learn from each other. Yeah. Just that simple. And this podcast is that right there. And it's also to help us reach a wider audience. Exactly. I would like to help coach people and salons because I know salons can be profitable. I want to help them with that. Yep. Money has never been my drive. It's come later. Yeah. But challenge is my drive. Yes. I always need a challenge. Yeah. And this year my challenge was, okay, make 100K doing like less than 25 hours a week. Okay,
like a
cool.
part-time job.
Yeah, like a part-time job. Yes. And I was like, I'm going to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to like, how do I apply that and sell that for other stylists to learn how to do? Yeah. And I'm always going to create a challenge for myself. If I'm not challenged, I get burnout. Yeah. And I think that's what's happened to me throughout the years is like when I feel like I'm not challenged, I'm not going to do it. And everyone I know that I've seen their career build up so quickly, I'm like, it's because they did it for themselves. Yeah. And I'm like, that's what I need to do. Yeah. And that's what we should all do.
That's your time.
It's my time.
And you get to do everything. Like, I just feel like you're so yourself now.
Thank you. I do. I definitely feel.
You don't feel pressured to perform in a certain way or like you have these, like you can't behave a certain way. You can't act a certain way. You can't say a certain thing because the brand.
Completely.
It's like, it's just you. And I think so many people have seen you evolve over the last
9 years.
Yes. Yeah. That now they're like really seeing you and like everything that you're going to take all your knowledge and everything that you've learned and just like, they're like, what's to come? They like know something's coming. Yeah. And they're like, what is it going to be?
I appreciate that. Yeah. And I've heard that from people and that's so refreshing to hear because for every job I ever had, I had to be in my mind. No one told me that. I curated myself to fit the brand or to fall into the narrative that the brand needed. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
And it's just so funny because like looking from the like outside in, it's like you've already done everything. Yeah. It's like you've really have.
It kind of does feel like that. And I'm so thankful for that. Yeah. And there was no plan. Yeah. There was no plan except for everything I do it the best. Yeah. That's it. That's only my plan. Like take on challenges, be uncomfortable, do the uncomfortable shit and do it well. Yeah. And don't half-ass it. Yep. And I don't have patience for that either, as you know.
Well, it's amazing to have heard and learned and seen along the way. And what little part I've gotten to be a part of, I'm so grateful for.
You've inspired me, so I'm thankful. Yeah. So I love you.
Love you too.
No, you hang up.
No, you.